The Olympics have started. That's right. Probably one of my favorite times of every 4 years. I love the Olympics. The Olympics to me, like I am a massive sports fan. You know, I played organized sports from a very young age up until the age of like 3 years ago when I was 23. I played from like 8 years old to 23. I played Australian rules football. If you don't know what that is, search it up. But despite that, I do like other sports as well. So I love the Olympics. And one thing that I do like about the Olympics is the opening ceremony. The opening ceremony to me for every single Olympics, it's really entertaining. You know, a lot of these countries, they put on amazing, great shows. You know, musicals. They put on put music on, do dancing performances. And to me, the whole point of an opening ceremony is to entertain the masses, but also as well to kind of show off the culture of the country that is being, hosting those Olympic Games at the times. Like in recent times, from like certain things that I can remember, you get famous people from that country, or you get historical things, such as, one of the great ones that I remember in recent time is when the London Olympics were on back in 2012, and Mr. Bean made like a comedic appearance and he was doing his performance. And that to me was absolutely hilarious. And then if you watch the Tokyo Olympic Games as well, that their opening ceremony was really good to show the culture of Japan. And like I've stated it multiple times as well, is that I love Japanese culture so much. So when it came to the French Olympics, we were all waiting to see what was the opening ceremony going to be like. And according to Twitter and majority of the internet, it has been a complete joke. That's right. It is in no way great, and it is currently being ripped apart by the entire internet for a couple of main points. So we're going to go through those in this video as well. I'm going to show them on the screen. So the first one is, what in the hell is this? Why is there a Smurf on my screen right now? I do not understand this whatsoever. And just to try and garner some knowledge of French culture, I searched up French culture on Google and was looking through a few things, and nowhere on there did I see people paint themselves bright blue and naked on a stage. This to me, I'm like, oh, I don't get it. Why is there a naked blue Smurf on my screen? I mean, what part of this says French culture? Who was in charge of this? I want to question them deeply. And then not only that, but there is one performance that is being, heavily debated as well online. And I just want to say this is that, this is extremely, extremely controversial, because it is a, supposedly, I think this person is a transgender female. So they were male to female. A real joke to have a man dancing on stage with a beard dressed like a woman. And I'm not going to get too political about all of this, because when it comes to stuff like this, people get extremely heated about stuff like this. I mean, when it comes to people's personal lives, I don't really care. If you want to be transgender, that's absolutely fine with me. I mean, but to, I guess put it on TV like this, I mean, maybe you're going a bit too far, maybe. I mean, to me, it's just when I saw this, I was just like, all right, I don't get the real point of it. That's honestly my point. That was my point of view. I'm just okay, why? And then one other one that was a bit controversial, and one that I probably have to disagree with, maybe because of my music taste, is there was a famous death metal band. I think it's death metal here and there. So I kind of disagree with that. I mean, I do see where some people are coming from, saying that it is some kind of demonic music and all that kind of stuff. I 100% understand where certain people are coming from, but to me, I'm just you know what? At least with this, it's it's supposedly a famous French band. I mean, if they're famous in France, at least they're getting, famous people from their country to, play at the Olympic opening ceremony. So for me, I see that as a good thing. But probably, arguably, what is the most controversial one, and I feel like what you have to agree on, everyone has to have a general consensus on it, is the fact that they were basically mocking the Last Supper with Jesus. That's right. They decided to do the Last Supper of Jesus, but oh, did they not do it in a great way. So the Last Supper painting. Now, if you don't know about the Last Supper painting, the Last Supper painting is a extremely famous, arguably one of the most famous artworks in human history. And it was painted by the famous Italian artist, inventor, just man of a million goddamn things, Leonardo da Vinci himself. And even though he is Italian, he did die in France, and he lived a decent amount of his life in France. And they decided to recreate this famous painting, but instead of doing it and keeping it to its, what it really was, of where it's the Last Supper of Jesus, and it's all his disciples, which are all men, in this, what did they decide to do? They decided, instead of making it like it was, they decided to put a female who is not necessarily of a healthy type of weight, along with a whole bunch of other women, and supposedly some of these other women are transgender women as well, which, like I said earlier, I don't really care about transgender people. Not that it's like, oh, I don't give a crap about what happens to them. No, I don't really care if you are or not. You can see why this is such a bad idea. Like, it really is, especially for people who are extremely religious. Now, like I've stated multiple times that I'm not extremely a religious person, but to mock a religion in this way is not a good idea. I want to know what person was in charge of the opening ceremony and thought, yes, let's recreate the Last Supper. Let's recreate that. Make it look like it's the Last Supper. But instead of sticking to, what it actually was in the first place, let's make it all women. Yes, that is a great idea. Why? I mean, like, I know Da Vinci also lived, like, some of his life, like his last years in France, but he was Italian. This isn't even part of your culture. This is Italian culture. What are you doing, man? Like, to me, like I said, isn't the whole part of the opening ceremony to entertain the masses, obviously, but also to show off your culture, too? What part of this, besides the French death metal band, what part of this was showing off your culture? I mean, to me, it doesn't understand it at all. I mean, to me, after this, I was just like, what is French culture? Like, I honestly didn't even, I was like baffled. I was like, what the hell is French culture? What is this? This isn't French culture. No way it is. So I had to search up, like, stuff about French culture. Like, I haven't watched the whole entire opening ceremony, and they probably did do stuff with their culture involved. But I mean, shouldn't you just be sticking to that? I mean, French culture is, like, great. Like, they have these kind of costumes. I don't know exactly what these are called. They have, French dances. You got the Eiffel Tower. You got, you're famous for your wine, your cheese, fashion. I mean, fashion's massive in France. Massive. French Fashion Week is, like, huge. Make it all about that. Make it about how douchey you guys are as well. Like, we know French people are douchey as all hell, and that's absolutely fine to be like that. Why not acknowledge some famous French people? Joan of Arc, Coco Chanel, Napoleon, so many. Just keep it to that. What the hell is the rest of? Why was there a Smurf on my screen? That's the one question. Like, the other ones, I'm just like, oh yeah, you know what? I can understand. I could see why. I'm not saying it's good, like that with the Last Supper thing, but it's just like, oh yeah, I see why they did that. Like, yeah, I see what they were trying to do or whatever. But the Smurf, I don't understand the Smurf. I'm more pissed at the Smurf, because that's the only one that it's like, I don't understand. I don't get the Smurf. What was the part of the Smurf? Someone in the comments, please tell me about this Smurf. But I would definitely like to hear what you guys have to think about this in the comments. I mean, what did you think about the opening ceremony? What did you think of these specific things that I talked about? I mean, it's stirring up. It's not. I mean, online, on Twitter and stuff, everyone's kicking up a fuss about all this. And like I said, I kind of understand it to a certain point. I really do. It's not really all that great. But that's gonna be it from me, guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that stuff. Peace out.